title so that you're absolutely clear. This video has nothing to do with Bitcoin. It has to do with systems. It has to do with systems, and it has to do with the way that the world is evolving. And it has to do with like experts and consultants versus AI, basically. So it's a little bit just like trendy from like a buzzword perspective, but it's also something that I'm working on locking in, and you're my friend. And so we'll lock it in together. It's basically this. As your life gets more complicated, you want consultants, right? As your life gets more complicated, you want experts, you want consultants, you want people that have been there before. Okay. And this is across multiple genres. I'm talking about across multiple genres. I'm talking about like getting better at marriage. I'm talking about getting better at health. I'm talking about getting better at your finances. Like I'm better at emotional control, emotional regulation, better at parenting, better at hobbies, gardening. Like it's anything. It's anything. Getting better at anything or receiving information about anything or leveling up in anything. As the newbie gains wear off from being new to something and just trying something, you hit a ceiling, right? And then you seek better and better experts on how to do it, and you pay them money, or you become their friend, and it naturally rubs off on you, either from paying them or from them just naturally being in your circle, right? Sweet. That's good. The issue with that is that's difficult. Like finding that person, finding that consultant that that they have enough room on their like client book and their target market is you is actually very, very, very difficult. And the more that you pay consultants and pay for advice, the more that you realize that it takes a certain amount of trial and iteration to find the right person. And that's why it is so difficult to find the right CPA, the right primary care physician, the right dentist, the right marriage counselor, the right gardening expert, the right, like all these things, right? And physical trainer, like all of these areas that you're trying to improve. So like that's where the chatbot comes in, right? And so everyone is now walking around with the chatbot, and the chatbot is pretty helpful. But then you recognize that chatting can also feel generic and not custom. And so you have to what I'm realizing, you have to slow down and set up the context window. You have to slow down and set up the context window of what are you trying to do and how is the bot acting as the expert. And you have to tell it to answer shorter with the sole goal of, because the goal is not to loop with the bot. The goal is not to loop and loop and loop and loop and just keep all the information on the computer. The goal is to create new habits, create the new habit. And this is where back to the whole expert thing, so experts have humans or a friend, like other humans, other people have the information. They have the information that you want and need so that you can act on it so that your life can be different. That's true. That is true. Lining up with that person for the exchange of information is hard and slow. That grind is hard and slow. And their advice, like you've heard this, like someone's advice is almost always tells you more about them than it does about you. And again, it can still be helpful. But part of the reason why, we're all, the classic example of this is we all are raised with our parents' own limiting beliefs. Okay? You all, and you know this, that's basic therapy stuff. You're all you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with, right? But again, leveling up those 5 people is hard. It requires like lots and lots of work, emotional work or physical work, expensive work, right? To change cities, to change who you're talking to, and so what am I getting at all of this? What I'm getting at all of this is when you get like chatbots are not going away. I'm trying to basically, you can use a chatbot for all of this, and the iteration is faster, right? The iteration is faster. Okay, why is that groundbreaking? The reason why that's groundbreaking, this is what I'm realizing, is like that craving that feeling of like I'm craving that feeling of faster and faster and faster iteration. But you have to balance that with not over narrating, regardless of what it is. Stick with me as I tell you about Venice AI, and I'll be back in like 60 seconds. Speaking of combining Bitcoin investing and cash flow investing, that's honestly why I have a lot of respect for legendary crypto entrepreneur Eric Voorhees. He's now building a company called Venice AI, and they're the sponsor of today's video. Thankful to have them as part of the channel. I love how he's a perfect example of a Bitcoin investor that has moved into other types of entrepreneurship, using that to build cash flow and affect the world. And that's where a question comes in for you. How do you feel when programmers of these other leading AI like chatbots, they're deciding what's okay for you to think and not think? Have you ever asked AI a question and it just throws up its hands and like refuses to answer it? I recently started taking retatrutide and was running into this, okay? I can now have a direct, non-censored dialogue with an AI chat model, the open source models, about my peptide strategy, okay? That's exactly why you need to try Venice AI and experience actual open inquiry. Venice AI runs the open source AI models, text, code, images, video in your browser or app, okay? It lets you access the world's leading models anonymously. ChatGPT 5.2, Claude 4.5, Gemini, Flash, on and on. Venice submits the generations on your behalf, so it's never tied to your identity. If you want to use AI without handing over your most personal information to corporations or the government, check out Venice.ai. Get 20% off a pro plan at Venice.ai/Brian Harrington. Use code Brian Harrington. Okay, semi-related thing, but hard. It might feel like a hard pivot. I noticed that in the past when I was younger, I'm kind of like craving deep connection, and I would try to turn small events into deep connection. Whether that's just like at a random party, right? Like a random kid's birthday party. I would be so focused on like finding the one other interesting person to talk about and just really aggressively going after the like, well, what do you do for work? Like, what do you do? And you're just like trying to learn something and absorb something from them, right? I've noticed that happening less. Like I've noticed as getting good at the chatbots has gone up. And it's a little bit with chatbots, but it's also like you recognizing that not every moment can be deep. So, and it's such this delicate balance of like, you can, when you're craving deepness, it's actually faster and easier to pull it out of the chatbot and feel like you're leveling up these areas. And when I mean deepness, I mean like improvement, improvement. I think there's a lot of at least I have a lot of constant obsession with like improving, right? Or constant obsession with being productive. And so it would force that improvement, force that productivity into spots where other people are relaxed. And then there would be a tension there, right? Obviously. And so it's like, then I would leave disappointed where the time felt like a waste, right? So this is where the chatbots are helpful for me because I can manufacture that deepness and I can manufacture that improvement into narrower spots. Whereas back to the whole expert thing, when I'm relying on a CPA or a primary care physician or a consultant in whatever area to like teach me, when you're relying on a human physical teacher, you have to like wait for the next interaction. You're waiting and waiting and waiting. And so I feel my brain with like long periods of waiting. There's plenty of time. There's so much time. There's so much time. And I know I've said a lot of this in a lot of random order, but I'm going to attempt to bring it all together and close the loop here. Land the plane, as some speakers say. Okay. Bots, when you take the time to set up the context, can provide more focused, dialed in custom advice specifically to your situation than humans can. And they can do it faster so that you can iterate faster. This paradoxically makes it so that you can be more present when you are with humans for connection and rest, or with experts, because the rapid iteration with the bot will clarify the actual best questions to ask experts when you are with them. And the ability to have in-depth, deep conversations, custom to who you are as a person, like, will then allow you to be present for rest with humans at the birthday party example, because you sufficiently filled the depth.
What birthday party?
The birthday party, this weekend's birthday party. We just added an AI and vibe coding channel to the private Discord. If these topics of talking about chatbots is interesting to you, or if you're interested in the topics of like financial wellness and physical wellness, emotional wellness, and how all three of those things tie together, be throwing a conference this November in Southern California. And so stick with the channel, join the private Discord if you feel like it, and I'll tell you more about that event as it gets closer.